The Great and Powerful Oz, John McCain, and the Great Moon Hoax are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is August 25th, 2022. It is the 237th day of the year. There are 128 days left in 2022. It is the 34th Thursday in the 35th week and the 66th day of summer. You got 28 days till fall. If today's your birthday, you're still a Virgo. Today is National Park Service Founders Day. On this day in 1916, President Woodrow Wilson signed what is now called the Organic Act. It established the National Park Service. As part of the Department of the Interior, the National Park Service protects 400 areas in 50 states. I almost said 400 acres, and I stopped the recording. I was like, acres? Much more than that. No, it's 400 areas. This includes the District of Columbia and U.S. territories, totaling 84 million acres. The National Park Service Founders Day recognizes the superior conservation and preservation efforts of the national park system. Whether enjoying scenic trails, open spaces, watersheds, or recreational areas, the National Park Service provides a natural outdoor resource that's accessible to every American. I've mentioned it before on this channel, but if you ever get a chance, Ken Burns did a PBS special on the national park system. It's amazing. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It's got like 6 different parts. All right, let's see what else August 25th has given us. 1823, American fur trapper Hugh Glass is mauled by a grizzly bear while on an expedition in South Dakota. This was chronicled in the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, The Revenant. So this dude gets mauled by a bear and he survives. He's definitely screwed up, but he survives. And he's out in the wilderness, far away from a hospital or anything like that, or even a doctor, a medicine man, whatever they had going on back in the 1800s. This guy essentially crawls in South Dakota, like crawls on the ground because he can't even walk, avoids hostile Indians that are out looking for people, goes into an icy river to get away from them, floats down the river. It's an insane movie. If what this man went through was half of what they made it look like in the movie, he was a tough man. 1835, the first Great Moon Hoax article is published in the New York Sun, announcing the discovery of life and civilization on the moon. This was the glory days before we had things like the internet, common sense, television, radio, phones, things like that where you could check up on people's sources. 1914, World War I. The library of the Catholic University of Leuven is deliberately destroyed by the German army. Hundreds of thousands of irreplaceable volumes and Gothic and Renaissance manuscripts are lost. 1945, 10 days after World War II ends, with Japan announcing its surrender, armed supporters of the Chinese Communist Party kill U.S. intelligence officer John Birch, regarded by some of the American right as the first victim of the Cold War. 1948, the House of Un-American Activity Committee holds the first ever televised congressional hearing, Confrontation Day, between Whittaker Chambers and Alger Hiss. 1950, to avert a threatened strike during the Korean War, President Truman orders Secretary of the Army Frank Pace to seize control of the nation's railroads. You know, I'm all for a strike and all that, and, workers' rights. I'm a firm believer in that. But when it's a time of war, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. But that's just my opinion. 2017, Hurricane Harvey makes landfall in Texas as a powerful Category 4 hurricane, the strongest hurricane to make landfall in the United States since 2004. Over the next few days, the storm causes catastrophic flooding throughout much of Texas, killing 106 people and causing $125 billion in damages. This was a disaster of epic proportion. I mean, the flooding is what really, really damaged the state of Texas, essentially. Houston was hit so hard. I remember watching the news and this lady said she couldn't believe how high the water had gotten during the floods. She said she was sitting on her roof and it was still raining. She said it continued to rain for like 2 days after it had gotten so bad in her house, she was sitting on her roof. It was basically catastrophic rainfall. Now, the U.S. was having a bit of a run there. We hadn't had a major hurricane make landfall in 12 years at the time. The last one they had was Hurricane Wilma in 2005. In a 4-day period, many areas in the Houston area received more than 40 inches of rain. It's like the hurricane was coming at Houston pretty fast, and then when it got there, it just kind of slowed down. It wasn't just Houston. Louisiana got hit, Honduras, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize was hammered, Nicaragua was hammered, the Cayman Islands. Other parts of the southern United States picked up a lot of the tropical storm. Suriname, Guyana, the Windward Islands. It was rough. During the hurricane, Governor Greg Abbott deployed the state's entire National Guard for search and rescue, recovery, and cleanup operations due to the devastating damage caused by the storm. It was so bad, other states sent their National Guard in to help as well. About 32,000 people were displaced and had to go into shelters. I mean, there was a lot more that were unable to go back to their homes or their apartments or whatever, but a lot of them had other places to go, family members, things like that. 32,000 people had to go into shelters. More than 210,000 people registered with FEMA for disaster assistance. This thing was bad. My favorite story of this was the Cajun Navy. These are fishermen and stuff from Louisiana. There's like an unofficial, informal organization that went in from Louisiana in their fishing boats and whatever and helped out. Movies released on August 25th, 1939, The Wizard of Oz. I'm going to tell you what happened in this movie because I'm sure none of you have seen it. A young girl named Dorothy gets transported from Kansas to the magical world of Oz and has to find her way back home. Yeah. The whole time she had the ability to do this, she just had to click her heels together. You know, that would have helped so much if they would have told her that when she was with the Munchkins at the beginning. But instead, she has to hang out with 3 misfits and get chased by flying monkeys. The first time I would have seen a flying monkey, I right away would have thought the natural thing. I'm not getting enough oxygen to my brain. Anyway, The Wizard of Oz won the Academy Award for Best Original Music Score. Judy Garland's signature song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, has since been adopted by many artists and performed in several different languages. It's an amazing movie. 1939, and I could still sit down and watch it and enjoy the whole thing. This movie is like 30 years older than me. Born on August 25th, 1958, Tim Burton, director, producer, animator, and artist known for his highly stylized gothic fantasy films. His best-known feature films are Batman, Batman Returns, Ed Wood, which I really liked, nobody else did, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Big Fish, which is, in my opinion, the best movie ever, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. To this day, I'm not sure, but I think I sat next to him and had a conversation with him on a flight in like 1988 when I was in the Army. This was obviously before he was big, and the only reason I was sitting next to this dude is because I was in military uniform and they bumped me up to first class. And it was like years later I saw a picture of him. I'm all, I think that's the dude from the plane that had all this animation stuff he was showing me. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him. Died on August 25th, 2008, Republican presidential nominee and Senator John McCain. He was a prisoner of war for 5 years during the Vietnam War. He became a U.S. Senator from Arizona in 1987. He was known for his advocacy of campaign finance reform in the Senate and most notably co-wrote the 2002 McCain-Feingold Act. While attending the United States Naval Academy, he became a lightweight boxer. In 1999, he published his memoir, Faith of My Father, which was made into a TV movie. He has 3 daughters named Megan, Bridget, and Sydney, 3 sons named Douglas, James, and John. He was married to Carol McCain from 1965 to 1980, then married Cindy McCain later in 1980. His father, John S. McCain Jr., was a U.S. Navy admiral. He ran against President Barack Obama in 2008, but lost by a fairly large margin. John McCain was diagnosed with cancer, and on August 25, 2018, the McCain family announced that he would no longer receive treatment for the cancer. He died the following day at 4:28 p.m. in Cornville, Arizona. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a productive day, and be nice to each other.